Welcome to our short film on funding for creative entrepreneurs and startups. In this film, we're going to look at an introduction to equity funding. My name's John Holmes, and I'm the Managing Director at Advantage Creative. So in this film, we're going to cover the introduction to equity funding. We're going to look at a couple of case studies, then we'll go through some top tips and a slide with some resources. So equity funding. This is one of the most sophisticated forms of funding. This is funding that you raise from selling shares in your company. For this reason, it's not suitable for sole traders, CICs or charities. It's only suitable for a company limited by shares. Also, it's not suitable for a company that has limited scope for growth. It's only truly suited to a startup. By startup, I mean a business that's really designed to scale up quickly. These are often IT or tech businesses or web platforms. Think notonthehighstreet.com. Now this is because equity funding is the most risky kind of investment. Therefore, the investor is expecting high returns on those investments that do succeed. Anything like 9 out of 10 of their startup investments might fail. So those that do succeed have got to produce really good returns. For startup and early growth companies, there are two kind of approaches to equity funding that you might take. You might look for angel funding, or you might do an equity crowdfunding campaign. So let's look at these. Angel funding. An angel investor is someone who invests in companies, typically at very early stage, and puts in a small amount of funding, typically £10,000 to £50,000, into the company alongside their own expertise and input. They might take a fairly significant shareholding, maybe 10% to 40%, which reflects both the risk they are taking and their role as a partner in building the business. The first round of equity funding is often called seed funding. It's called seed because it happens at the very early stage, often before the company is earning money from its activities, which we call pre-revenue. Now, angel investment is the most risky type of investment. So what they do is first they spread their risk over a wide portfolio, and second they back those companies that look most likely to produce a really good return. And by this I mean a growth of 10 times or more in the value of that company over 5 years or so. Now, angel investors are usually quite patient investors. They typically look to make a return on their investment after around 5 years, usually by selling their shares at a much higher rate to follow-on investors as that business scales up further. Now, this is exactly the kind of investment we've done at Advantage Creative, so if you want to know more about this, do feel free to contact us. Now let's look at equity crowdfunding. Again, in equity crowdfunding, companies are raising funds by selling shares in their company. Crowdcube and Seedrs are among the top equity investment crowdfunding platforms at the moment, so check out examples and case studies on their platforms. Now, they're regulated by the FSA, the Financial Standards Authority, so companies do have to meet really strict criteria and go through a rigorous vetting and due diligence process when they first register. Now, one of the things that makes equity crowdfunding really appealing for startups and entrepreneurs is that the entrepreneur raising capital has total control of the offering. What to offer, what to sell, how much, and at what price. These are all entirely up to the company raising the capital. They set the terms, including their valuation and how much capital they hope to raise. Now, this is quite different to raising funding through a negotiation with an angel funder, where the angel tends to be able to set the terms. However, the downside of this is that the company doesn't get the benefit of all the skills, knowledge, and experience of an angel investor. Rather, they have a large number of passive shareholders that they then have to service. So this is the main thing that you have to think about really carefully as you get into equity funding. Which of these models is right for you? Now, to understand this a bit better, let's look at a couple of case studies. One for angel funding and one for equity crowdfunding. Angel funding. British designer Jan Constantine is the founder and creative director at Jan Constantine Limited, the British international home textile company. Jan is known for her bold, distinct and original collection of home textiles and her work as a designer and manufacturer of a range of home interior products. Advantage Creative Fund provided angel investment into Jan's company back in 2005. At this time, her products were highly sought after in stores like Harrods, Selfridges, Liberty and Fortnum & Mason, and she had good prospects of building her company through expanding into more mainstream stores. As angel investors, we provided practical help and guidance and advice to Jan and her team, using our contacts, experience and expertise. We supported Jan in her negotiations with major retailers and with LOCOG. Jan Constantine Limited was licensed to produce home textiles for the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games, helping Jan to significantly grow her brand. So Jan says about this, "The guidance I've received has been tremendously valuable. I'm a designer. I rely on other people to help me with the financial side of the business. The people at Advantage Creative Fund have introduced me to people who help me develop and grow the business. They also understand creative businesses like mine, and that's made a huge difference." Angel investment worked for Jan because she really wanted the expertise that an angel investor could bring to help her grow the business, allowing her to focus her attention on being the designer. Equity crowdfunding. Lucy Choi London as a designer, affordable luxury footwear brand that caters for all ages and every occasion without compromising the 3 C's: comfort, craftsmanship and character. These are the brand's defining ethos. After 7 years in finance and sales in the corporate world, Lucy Choi, the founder, designer and CEO, moved on to gain 17 years experience in luxury footwear. She works alongside COO Julia Gosch and a team of 4 other executives in the company. Their London boutique opened in 2015, and they now have 5,800 subscribers to their website. So at the time of making this film, this company is raising £250,000 on Crowdcube for 2.7% equity in the company. They plan to use the funding towards a new website, refocus on wholesale globally, increase marketing spend, and new hires to take their brand to the next level. The company has raised £75,000 investment already from 3 existing investors before the campaign went live, but these have been reflected and included in the Crowdcube campaign. This is an important point to note, and we'll come on to this when we look at top tips. So top tips for angel funding. Do your research. There are angels out there, but they can be hard to find, especially if you're new to this kind of funding. Angel networks tend to cluster around major cities like London and Manchester. Be prepared to put lots of time and effort into getting your business ready for angel funding and take professional advice. A good place to start is getting your business onto a business accelerator program like Barclays Eagle Lab that prepare you for angel investment. You can also research regional angel networks and pitching events. I'll provide some links in the resources section. Build your team. It'll be really important to have some business and finance expertise on your team before you pitch for investment. Ideally, you need a CEO and a COO in your company. Of course, at the early stages of your business development, these might not be full-time employees. Your team might be co-directors who work alongside you as shareholders in the business. Top tips for equity crowdfunding. The benefits can be great, and you can get the funding you need when you need it. It can help you build relationships with investors and flush out angel investors who can help in the future with follow-on funding when you need it. Get your early investors lined up in advance. Crowdfunding platforms will advise you to have at least 25% of your target in place before you launch. And some of those I've spoken to said this should be more like 40%. So if you look at the Lucy Choi case study, you'll see the company has raised £75,000 investment from 3 existing investors before the campaign went live, and that was really important. You can expect a huge amount of work to be involved in providing the platform with evidence of contracts and certification. You need to be prepared. Everything you say in your campaign is supported with hard evidence. You've got to spend time on documenting everything. And managing the campaign itself is incredibly hard work. So be prepared and organise yourself and your business so you can give this your complete focus throughout the campaign. Crowdfunding can work really well when you have a strong following and a deep relationship with your fans and followers, a strong brand, a great story, substantial social media following. These are all essential ingredients for a successful crowdfunding campaign. Here's our resources for angel funding and also for equity crowdfunding. Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos for creative entrepreneurs and startups on our website.